Welcome back to Marvel Live from San Diego Comic-Con 2015, brought to you by Marvel Future Fight from Netmarble. I'm Lorraine Singh, host and writer of Marvel's The Watcher, joined by
Tamara Krinsky, Marvel's West Coast host, joined by
Mr. Chip Zdarsky.
This is live?
This is live. This is happening live. Are you gonna make it? Don't go. Don't be scared.
Stay.
Don't be scared, little writer. Don't be scared.
They're very guys. Be nice. Be nice. Be gentle.
Nice, be
and
kind.
tweet us your questions
You don't have
at
to be gentle.
Marvel.
You don't have to be gentle. Don't have to be gentle.
Oh, okay then.
All right.
So-
Then do whatever you want, guys.
It is day 3 of Comic-Con, you know.
And things get weird.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
speaking a little weird, you're a writer of Howard the Duck. He's a duck man.
Or man duck.
Or
I mean,
man
it depends
duck.
on how you want to view that. Yeah.
What has it been like for you working with Howard? You're hilarious. He's hilarious.
Stop it, you. It's the weirdest thing in the world because for years I was like, I want to read another Howard the Duck book. And next thing you know, I'm writing a Howard the Duck book. So,
Did that quench your desire? Were you like, finally, I get me to write it?
well, I mean, kind of, but like, I'm not reading a Howard the Duck book. That's the problem.
No, you're
I
not
need someone else to
surprised
do
by
another Howard the
anything.
Duck book that I get to read, and then I write one for someone else to read.
And then you can share.
Then we can
Share
share.
these.
Then we can share. Yeah. Like Howard was like, as a kid, I had a weird Uncle Fred that collected Howard comics, and so whenever I go to his house, I'd like hole up in the basement and read them, and they were kind of like for kids, but not for kids. So when your parents would see you reading a Howard the Duck book, they'd be like, "Oh, it's like
that's fine.
like
It's just a
Daffy or
duck."
Donald. Like it's fine."
And then he's like having an existential crisis.
Exactly. And there was like the black and white Marvel magazines that were a little bit too risque for my age back then. So like I was like totally into it as a kid, and I loved the movie, and I had a crush on Leah Thompson.
I love the movie so much. I just watched it recently. It holds up.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It's awesome.
I should probably say it's the best because it's the first Marvel movie, technically. I think.
I don't know.
I think
kind of.
so. It's the first theatrical Marvel
Tweet us.
movie.
I guess so,
let
but
us
not
know if
Marvel
you know the answer.
Studios.
No.
Yeah,
But Marvel
not,
movie.
but a
It's
Marvel
funny.
movie.
After I got the job writing Howard, I was at a restaurant, and the manager found out I was the writer, and so he put Howard the movie on the screen in a restaurant, so without dialogue, and he sent me a plate of duck wings. So I was like eating duck wings, just like staring at this like
Did you
weird
feel
sad
like-
movie.
Like you were eating Howard the Duck.
Right,
It
were
was
you
not a good
cannibalizing?
It was not a good feeling.
Well, we're
Oh,
so
already
sad.
getting,
Yeah.
speaking of people who love you, Jeff Walker wants to know, how do you feel about being honored as Chip Zdarsky in the most recent Squirrel Girl issue?
I'm furious because every time something like that happens, Marvel owns another piece of me. Like Chip Zdarsky could now be in a Marvel movie, and I'm going to see $0, frankly.
Unless they cast you as Chip Zdarsky.
Put it in your contract.
That's
Put it in the
amazing.
writer.
Yeah. That's smart.
So also, you are a wonderful artist as well.
But you?
I know. But you work with Joe Quinones
Yeah.
on the book.
Yeah.
What was it like relinquishing your artistic control? Do you like working with Joe?
I love Joe, and so there was this situation where when I first got the job writing, they were like, "Oh, you should do a Howard redesign too." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I could do that at least." And I started to redesign. I was pretty happy with it. And then they hired Joe, and they got him to do redesigns, and they were so much better than mine. So you have that double thing. Like when I look at his pages, I'm like, "Oh, I'm so happy because he makes the
Right.
book look so great." I hate him so much because he's so much better than I am.
Oh.
Well, you
Yeah.
may not have somebody else writing it, but you've got someone else drawing, so, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a good share.
But also, I'm used to like, cause like I do a book with Matt and Image, and so I'm now used to the opposite feeling where you feel like a god. Like in a script, you just have to write. Howard walks down a busy New York street with hundreds of cars, and then Joe has to spend like a day drawing that.
Should we change it to Chip Zdarsky?
Zagadsky. Put it in the writer.
Zagadsky.
So then do you have that like artist thing in your brain where you're like, I'm gonna make you draw 100 cars on purpose, or are you kind of like, it's a crowd
No.
scene, but you can only see 3 faces?
No, I just apologize. Like my scripts are just like, and then this happens. I'm so sorry, Joe. Yeah, he rolls with it. He's a good man.
That's good of him.
I love him.
That's
I
good.
love him.
Renee Laffison wants to know, what was your reaction when Howard the Duck appeared in the credit scene of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, it's funny because like I basically got the job because of that. So
So
like,
you were really happy then?
Yeah. I wasn't super happy at the time. I was like kind of happy. I'm like, oh yeah, Howard, that's great.
Yeah,
I'm really happy now because I basically when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's fun. And then I got an email from an editor of Marvel saying, hey, did you watch Guardians? I'm like, yeah, good movie. He's like, yeah, you see Howard at the end? I'm like, Yeah. He's like, I think we could pitch a Howard book. I'm like, oh?
What?
Oh?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
You also wrote one of my favorite strips. I can't remember which book it is, but you did that one-page spread that was all of the little individual characters with like one-liner jokes.
Yeah, the original sins, where you go through all the sins of the other characters. Yeah.
I have to say, I think you hold the record for the most jokes in a single page of a Marvel comic.
Well, the one thing about me is I hate myself, and I always assume that everyone's going to hate me.
That's a perfect attitude for a writer.
So my assumption was that was my only shot at doing a Marvel thing. So I'm like, well, I'm going to jam-pack these 2 pages because they're never going to call me again. And then we're done. And, then,
and look at what you did.
Exactly.
I'm basically running the joint now.
I know.
Totally. Well, at DJ Franco wants to know, what was your most influential 80s movie besides Howard on your work?
Dirty Dancing. Absolutely Dirty
Oh.
Dancing. I love Dirty Dancing so much. It's
Time
the-
of my life.
Down the middle. That's
Yeah.
the seminal move.
Nobody puts baby in the corner. It's like,
I will say I went to a performing arts high school, and instead of having to take gym, we actually got to take jazz instead, and that dance was our final.
I actually,
the dream.
when I worked at the newspaper, I got to do the Dirty Dancing choreography, like, because there's a Dirty Dancing musical.
Yeah.
And I had to cover it, and so I had to, like, figure out how to do the Dirty Dance
I
with
have
the guy who played
seen-
Johnny in the musical. So I was
What?
baby. So it was just like us doing the whole
Oh,
Dirty
yeah.
Dancing thing.
And he's like, spaghetti arms, right?
Yeah, no, it was totally that. We were doing her,
Yeah, the
yeah, with the Holy Ghost
oh,
or whatever that is.
love boy.
I've lent Dirty Dancing out to more people than anything else. I don't know why. It's like my movie. It's my go-to 80s
Oh my
movie.
God, that's so amazing.
That's
so
fantastic.
tell people really quickly where they can find you online, comics, and beyond.
Basically run marvel.com.
Basically.
No.
But specifically.
Zdarsky.tumblr.com. I'm on Twitter as @Zdarsky. It gets a little blue, so the kids should not pay attention to what I just said. But now that I've said it, all the kids really want to
They wanna
go
know
there.
now. They
I'm so sorry.
They want to
But thank you so much for joining
Oh,
us.
it's
We're going to
great.
have even more from Marvel Live coming up very soon. We're going to have Scott Koblish, so stick around.
All right.
Stick around.